going to go first to, of course, go back to the beginning where we started. Que Asante. Special Nick says this in a tweet, and it's getting a lot of engagement, and he's 1,000% right in this. He says, can't be stressed enough how much of a mistake it would be long-term not to put Call of Duty on Game Pass. Disastrous on so many levels. Now, what he is talking about, folks, is a report from Tom Warren of The Verge. And I'm reading verbatim from the report that Charlie Intel on Twitter posted earlier this afternoon. New. The Verge is reporting Xbox executives have been debating for months whether or not to put Call of Duty on Xbox Game Pass because of how much revenue will be lost. Also, discussions happening internally about potentially increasing the price of Xbox Game Pass. Look, I'm going to say this right now. If you want, look, I don't advocate for increases on anything. I'm on a pension, folks. My dollars are where they're going to be, and taking care of my household and my family are paramount. But Game Pass allows me to be a part of the conversation, so I don't have to buy the games. If I want to buy them, I can. But I can't. What I do is I use Game Pass to play games I want to play, and I buy games everywhere else. And then occasionally, when a game is not in Game Pass that I like, I buy it. That's just the way it works. I'm going to tell you this right now. They have sold us, Que Asante, that Xbox first-party games go into Xbox Game Pass day and date. Call of Duty is a first-party game. If they take that away, they are basically just going to collapse the whole thing. I'm telling you right now, people are going to abandon Xbox Game Pass in droves because that is the lie that people will immediately equate. And listen, like I said, I know business, and I know that when Call of Duty goes into Game Pass, people are going to subscribe. You do not put it in Game Pass, people are going to leave in droves. Let's get your hot take on it.
So this is where I think Hargeet was like, he's advocating that it not go in Game Pass. So the thing that's weird about this is, right, for the longest time, Microsoft has been, Phil and team have been saying that their mark of success is different than what everybody thinks it is, right? Oh, it's cannibalizing sales. No, it doesn't. What was it? Hi-Fi Rush didn't do well. Yes, it did, because the metric of success is different, right? Clearly, there is some mushy middle there, right? It is taking away from certain sales, right? It definitely is. Stop lying about it. Stop trying to, I wouldn't even say they're lying about it necessarily. Stop trying to sugarcoat it, right?
Yeah, that's the
Now,
word.
you can say, hey, we're taking, because remember, this is $1 trillion company. They do loss leaders all the time, right? Your Series S and Series X in your living room did not cost $500 to make. It didn't cost $300 to make. That's how much they sold it to you for. But at the end of the day, they took a loss on that in order to get you into the ecosystem. They do loss leaders all the time. So when you say it's going to Game Pass day one, that's a loss leader, because any person that will end up playing in your ecosystem will be $70 or so that you won't get. But the hope is obviously they stick with it, microtransactions, pay pigs, the whole thing, right? I get that, right? But if we live in a world, because clearly we've established by all the news here, right, that at the end of the day, what used to be true, the shield that used to protect them is no longer there, or that shield has a whole bunch of holes and cracks in it, right? So if putting this game into Game Pass is what's going to bring the shield down and going to like lead to more of these, then I do think that there should be some moving and shaking there. Now, you don't not put it in Game Pass because you made that promise. Full-throated, if you will. Pause. You did that multiple times. So you can't just be like, well, can't do that, right? But what have we seen? We have seen Amazon Prime now have ads in it. The one that used to just come with your subscription. Now it has ads in it. You want the one that doesn't come with ads, you got to pay for a higher tier. We've seen Netflix add how many ad like various versions. And oh, by the way, a fun fact with the Netflix thing, in the lower tier that adds ads, guess who the engine is serving them ads? Microsoft.
Yeah.
So in a world where you need Call of Duty to be in Game Pass, create a different tier or make the ultimate tier the one that gets it and create lower tiers that maybe get it 6 months from now, or maybe play with it a little bit. But there has to be a version that comes with Game Pass, because if there isn't, oh boy, the pitchforks are right off frame. They show up and you will get all that smoke, and it'll be well deserved. Play with it. We get that the world we live in today is not where we lived in that rosy Pollyanna world where the metric of success was different. We get that it means money, right? But ask John Wolf, the pay pig among us. He will continue to buy your microtransactions if it's on Game Pass.
Damn right.
Right? Well, he's a Call of Duty guy.
Yes, absolutely. And if it means the $18 turns to $20, he'll go, but he'll still goddamn pay for it. That's what will happen. So don't say we're not going to do it at all. Make it, play with the numbers. Make it a different tier. Make a lesser tier that people can be just as affordable, that maybe comes a little later. Do that. But the idea that it's not in Game Pass at all, oh yeah, that'd be the kiss of death. I agree.
Yeah, I agree. Great point. Hargi, let's get your hot take on this. You said you think that it shouldn't be. Why?
Don't do it, Hargi.
So here's the thing. All right. So Call of Duty is a massive game that, like GTA, it doesn't need freaking Game Pass. It just doesn't. Game Pass is a good vehicle for games that need exposure. Call of Duty is so freaking massive, it just doesn't matter, right? It's gonna sell. It has like 150 million players, right? Now that's not all the mainline Call of Duty game. That's like the Warzone, but it doesn't matter. It's so big, it just doesn't need Game Pass to expand. So if there's no value there, what's the point? The flip side of this is it costs so much to put it in Game Pass. You're going to see a lot more studio closures because they're not going to care about those smaller games. They're going to have to take the hit that all those subscribers are just for freaking Call of Duty. Well, what the heck's the point? It's not going to gain you anything. Why do this? Instead, just look, the average player that plays Call of Duty will just pay the $70 and play Call of Duty.
My quick little pushback. Everything you're saying right now is completely valid and was valid before they bought it, and still they made that promise. So what changed the equation?
Oh, like it was all the promises they just made that they broke? Like it matters, right? Their promises don't mean crap, right? They made promises that like, oh, we want to make games like Hi-Fi Rush. Oh, we're going to close your studio. They make all sorts of promises that apparently don't matter. So I'm done with promises. I don't care about their promises because tomorrow their promise is going to be broken anyway. So I'd rather they just do what makes sense and just do the right thing for Game Pass. So Call of Duty players are casual players that buy like 1 or 2 games a year, one of them being Call of Duty. They're just going to buy the bloody game. It just doesn't matter. People keep thinking that Call of Duty is going to somehow change Game Pass. Yeah, it's going to change it for the worse. It's not going to make it better. Call of Duty in no way needs Game Pass, and it's not going to increase subscriptions. I know Call of Duty players that do not give a crap about what's in Game Pass. They don't care. They just want their stupid game. Call of Duty. That's it.
Yeah. Can I give you a little pushback on that? Because here's the thing. Call of Duty here in New Rochelle, New York, where Mrs. Boom and I live. If I go to my local GameStop, it's $67.43. Right?
Yep.
I'm sorry, $76.43 after tax.
Yep.
Almost $80. Casual gamer A is going to go to that GameStop and race to go buy this game. And when they get home, they're going to get some transactions.
Yep.
Here's the thing. Personally, if you want to increase people buying your console, casuals will buy a Series S. Right? If it's $200 on Black Friday, they will buy it. Me, this is pie in the sky looking as Mr. Businessman. Do I want the $176.43 sale for Call of Duty, or do I want said person that's going to be like, wait a second, I could get Call of Duty for $16 and they're going to pay their subscription fee? Yeah, but that's 1 month, but they're going to continue to play it. And while they're there, they are going to find other things. And why are they going to find other things?
But they're
Because
not gonna
games,
care.
But
but that's
But
not true. Because
can I just say this
ahead,
real fast? And boom, I'm sorry to interrupt you.
yeah, it's all right, jump in.
Hargi, I get what you're saying, and again, in light of everything that's happening, I get where you're coming from with your sentiment. But the problem is this: the needle doesn't move with Hellblade 2. The needle moves with Call of Duty. And if they want
Correct.
if they want their subscriptions for Game Pass to grow and for Game Pass to be solidified as a true service where the biggest game of the year is inside, they need to figure it out.
Yep.
Because that was the whole spiel about having Call of Duty in your service and how that was the difference maker, and
But
that
so John,
Sony.
let me ask you this: if you're only playing Call of Duty, right? What is the value to you to pay 17 times 12, right?
I'm going to tell you what it is. I'm going to tell you what it is
for it than just buying the game, right?
I'm going to tell you what it is.
What's the value?
As a console gamer, this is the value. The Game Pass service gets you the game. It gets you the online play. That frees up my wallet. So guess what? I can buy more microtransactions for the game. So
no, it's still more expensive.
Yeah,
it's more expensive than just buying the online and the game.
No, you're not wrong. But here's the thing and I get what you mean. And you're right from a dollars and cents point of view, but still the entry level, the barrier, it's right there. So I'll give you a quick example. Call of Duty Mobile just recently launched, right? Warzone. Mm-hmm. I didn't pay nothing for the game. So guess what?
Warzone's free to play, isn't it?
It is, but the one for the Warzone for the mobile, okay? Seeing how it's free, how many people have already bought microtransactions?
Oh, tons.
And I've spent already like $60. I'm not gonna lie to you.
You're still missing the point where you still have to pay more if you use Game Pass than just buy the game and pay for online.
That's right. That's understandable, but the thing is that, and I think that's where Boom is going with this. There's this perception that like the game, if you're paying for the subscription, is free. You know how we've always said, "Oh, it's free on Game Pass," this and that. And
I've talked to people who are just Call of Duty players, and they're seeing the money, and they're like, "No, I can just buy the game."
But see, I want to add some more caveat to this, because those same Call of Duty players, the casuals, buy 3 games a year, right? That's a fact.
Yep.
They buy Call of Duty, they buy a Madden, they buy a 2K, they buy a FIFA. All of those games are in Xbox Game Pass. All of them.
If they play all 3.
But I'm just saying, a lot of them do. You're talking about diehard only Call of Duty players. That is not a casual gamer. A casual gamer plays a new WWE game and plays a new GTA and a new fighting game. Pick your flavor. But they also play Madden. They also play 2K wrestling, which is would they play 2K basketball, and these are all in Game Pass. These are what keeps them. And Call of Duty, again, I understand what you're saying. They don't care. They just want to buy their game and play the game. That's if they only play Call of Duty. That cannot be all of them.
Well, let me ask you this. Would you rather say half of the Xbox studios shut down and you get Call of Duty and Game Pass? Or would you rather say take Call of Duty out of Game Pass and keep all the studios?
I don't think it needs to be one or the other. It
is one or the other. I'm guaranteeing you it's one or the other.
And that's fine.
One. Which one do you want?
No, and that's fine. And I understand the question that you're bringing, but this is what I'll say, because I can only speak for myself as me. If they fail in June to say that the new Call of Duty game is in Game Pass, I'm unsubscribing that day. Why? Because again, listen, you can only lie to your consumers and mislead them so many times. Everybody has a breaking point. And the reason why that's mine, I'm going to tell you why that's mine. Because the promise of Game Pass, okay, is that all first-party content goes day one. They said so about 2 months ago. And now you're flipping it again. Listen, it's one thing for me to admit to myself and to everybody here that I'm a pay pig. It's another one for a company to disrespect me in my face. Yeah. You're not going to tell me to my face that I'm a pay pig and that I'm going to buy Call of Duty and you're not going to put it in your service. Why? Because I'm willing to pay for it. Once you cross that line and you get so arrogant that way, you're in big trouble because consumers will say F you. And they're playing a dangerous slippery slope.
Yeah.
So for their best interest, I think, and for the Xbox gamer that invested 2 years in rooting for the ABK acquisition, figure it out. I don't give a shit what you got to do to figure it out, but they better figure it out. And that,
All
my
right,
friends,
so let's
is a
assume that half
promise.
the studios are gone. Would you be happy?
I don't think it comes to that, Targeet. I hear what you're
Why
saying,
not?
and it makes a lot because I don't know. I half the
I
studios
mean, think
being
of the
gone
business part of this, right? You are going to cannibalize sales. That's going to happen, right? And that means the funding of Game Pass needs to go to that, right?
Hargeet, can I say one more thing? Can I say one more thing, brother? Since we're like talking about money here, why? Like, this is the thing that gets me kind of upset about like Xbox if they're not thinking this way. Like in situations like this, and I'm sure that there's very intelligent people in that room that have thought of this. What I'm about to say. Why can't they figure out how to monetize the subscriber that will be in Game Pass playing Call of Duty to make up the money that will be lost on the sales? Because again, if you have 100, whatever number it is that they have on Game Pass,
35 million is what it is. A little over 35 million.
34,
more
34 is
more
the last number
hands.
they gave us,
More hands on the game means more opportunities for microtransactions. They just need to make it appealing. So if you have your part of a percentage of your 35 million playing the game and saying, hey, you know what? I wasn't going to buy Call of Duty, but since it's in here, let me just buy myself the Spawn skin because I love Spawn. That's how you make up the difference. I don't know. I don't know how
make more money than the games themselves anyway. That's a fact.
So look, the Game Pass subscriber is a player that plays multiple games, right? The chances of them being a heavy Call of Duty player are actually pretty low, right? So, you know, if like for me, I play Call of Duty campaign and then it's done for me. I don't play the multiplayer at all, right? So I'm not going to give them anything beyond the $70 because I don't need it. That's all I do. I play the 8-hour campaign.
But would you be tempted? But would you be tempted if you were playing the game in your service?
Zero temptation. I have no temptation. I don't care. I own the game. I don't care. I will never play the multiplayer. I don't care. Right? It's just.
I'm with Hargeet on that one. I'm a campaign player, not a multiplayer player. Yes.
I'd rather play Psychonauts. I'd rather play Hi-Fi Rush.
I agree with Don Wolf.
So there you go. So Don would be tempted.
Listen, Hargeet, you're making fantastic points as you always do. I just think that we are. I think John is right. They have to figure out a middle ground where everyone wins, where Call of Duty does go into Game Pass to keep up with their promises, and at the same time, somehow entice those gamers that are the casual audience that are going to potentially buy a console in December that is going to be heavily discounted, get people in the door.
Oh, one more thing, Hargeet. Sorry, and I keep on thinking of things as we keep on going. What about this differentiator as well? The money that is lost by putting the game on Game Pass now, why can't they make it up with Switch 2 owners? So you have a whole new audience.
That was actually going to be my question. Like, as we know it, PlayStation has a bigger audience than Xbox even does, right?
Yes.
So and we know they're not going to switch over. So why not?
They are, and that's the part you're missing. The whole point of this is marketing. It has zero to do with Game Pass. It has to do with who markets Call of Duty. It's always been marketing. Why is it?
You're saying? Let me be clear here. Let me understand this here. So you're saying, Hargeet, that if they do put it in Game Pass, more PlayStation players will switch over to Xbox or PC, play it in Game Pass, and that'll lead to losses?
No. Forget Game Pass. It doesn't matter. It's the fact that they're going to market it alone. Why did the 360 win? Why did the 360 win? Because they marketed Call of Duty. It doesn't matter. It's just the marketing. It doesn't need Game Pass. Why does PlayStation win? They don't have Game Pass. Why? They marketed.
You could
Call of
say
Duty.
at the beginning of the Xbox One era, Xbox had the marketing for Call of Duty for
1
the first
year.
2 years.
1 year.
For 1 year. And that 1 year, they were neck and neck.
Yeah.
The second it went over, 2014 is when it switched over, and then suddenly PlayStation went and Xbox went.
Stop making sense, Hargeet. You're giving them ideas.
No,
man.
no. Listen,
You're giving them ideas.
Let's
But
look.
that's all
Again,
it just needs marketing. That's it. Marketing will bring people over. Look, PlayStation said that. It doesn't matter if it's in Game Pass. It just matters if they have the content, they have the marketing, and they can PlayStation can no longer do, hey, this piece of the game won't be available to Xbox players for a year.
Mhm.
That's what brought people over to PlayStation to play Call of Duty.
yeah.
That's over now. It's over. They're going to have content parity across everybody, and the marketer will be Microsoft, not PlayStation. It's going to be Xbox. That's
Yeah,
when
I
you bring people over.
I believe the marketing still holds weight, even in like today.
Oh no,
heck
the
yeah.
marketing
Would back
definitely
then.
holds weight. I absolutely agree. I
And
don't know.
in a sense that Xbox is not in the same position as a brand to the
Hargeet.
public consumer, to the casual gamer. I don't think Xbox, even with Call of Duty marketing, could bring some of the people with the image of Xbox that they have in their head. Call of Duty marketing might still not be enough to bring them away from PlayStation.
That's a
man,
great
They think
point.
too much of casual gamers
Yeah.
that they actually care.
Look,
I
this is
don't
this is
think they
this
care about any of this stuff.
this is the thing, and I know that the money people don't care. They don't give a shit about this, but it's think of the optics, how it looks to tell your consumer, we put everything on Game Pass except for Call of Duty because it's the biggest game and you're gonna pay for it.
Yeah,
Dude, that's not a good look.
It would be disastrous. Listen, again, we're almost at the 2-hour mark. I do want to get Don Otaku's final point on this, and I want to keep it simple. Don, look, again, everyone has knocked it out of the park. But my question to you, quite simply, is: you mentioned in your when we were talking to you about what happened this week, you mentioned the lie. They have promised Xbox Game Pass subscribers that first-party content will be available day and date in their monthly service that they pay for. John Wolf just perfectly explained that, wait a second, what you're saying is that everything goes into Game Pass except Call of Duty because we're going to buy it. That would be disastrous. What are your thoughts on that?
Yes, I'm gonna try to keep it quick. And I do want to add that they doubled down during the
Business meeting?
the business
Yes.
meeting,
Yep.
where
Business
they
update.
said that all ABK, and they stressed all ABK games will be coming to Game Pass day one.
Let them know, Don.
So,
Remind
but
them.
I'm 75% with Hargeet Chani about how if it means that we're rebuilding the shield, because Call of Duty is the new shield, and the revenue from Call of Duty is that new shield that will protect these other developers from being able to make the creative games that they've always made, whether they're monetary, they're a profit or not. I'm okay with it not being in Game Pass.
Don't
Now,
say
will it
that.
be disastrous? Yes. For the hardcore gamer, 100%. For us who keep up with it, definitely. I will be the first one in the streets to riot when that happens. Now, I do a podcast with casual gamers of differing ilks, including just mainly Call of Duty, like one game a year, Call of Duty hardcore.
Those are my people, man.
So the things that I come up to them with, and I'm outraged, they're like, why does that matter? It's always like this. When the games started going to PlayStation, I'm like, we don't have exclusives anymore. And they're like, why would I care? I only have an Xbox and I can still play these games. What does it matter to me? And this always happens when I'm doing the podcast with them, and that's why I love like bringing these tidbits to them. So when it comes to Call of Duty, my my hardcore Call of Duty panel member, he's gonna buy Call of Duty. He's not subscribing. I told him Call of Duty is gonna be in Game Pass. you don't have to buy Call of Duty anymore. You just subscribe to Game Pass. You gonna have it, and it's like you're good. And he's like, yeah, nah. I'm just gonna buy it. I like owning my Call of Duty because it's the only game that I play. And he said he would rather just have that one game than I'm like, but look, you have all of these games that you can play now with Call of Duty. You don't even have to buy them. Like you get to try them out. He's like,
nah, I'm
but
good.
it's not Call of Duty.
Call of Duty. That's right. Yep.
So that's why I agree with Hargi Chani, but I also am not going to speak in absolutes and say that every one of these gamers are like that. And I think that Kay Asante's point of having new tiers, maybe don't raise the price of Game Pass for what we currently have with Game Pass Ultimate. Maybe you need the Game Pass Ultimate plus Call of Duty or plus ABK with Game Pass perks included, where the exclusive perks at that bring some of those Call of Duty people who would buy the game. Maybe there's something that can incentivize them to subscribe to Game
like
Pass.
A $20
instead.
tier, you're saying?
Yes. Something we're at $18 a month
tier.
now. I would probably say 25 at this point if they're gonna
Cut this man's mic off. Hardeep, you're giving him too many ideas today, and Satya wants to hear all of these ideas. Cut him off.
With that 25,
I'm just looking at reality, right? So
yeah, with that $25 here, maybe we do some Game Pass perks monthly. That kind of like how they do Phantasy Star Online 2 and Vigor and some other live service games where they're getting some monthly content that they can add, like that you can use in game. Maybe you get some, like, I don't even know what COD points.
They can't. Well, technically, they can't do that because they promised the FTC that they wouldn't do anything to give them a competitive advantage with Call of Duty. So I get where you're going with this, brother, and I respect it. And Hargeet, put the damn game in Game Pass like you promised. I don't think it's that hard. But go ahead, continue.
No,
that's basically what my point is.